Hello dear colleagues, in this video we're going to show you the updated version of our 2-in-1 remote for FAAC RC, 2-in-1 remote for FAAC RC version 2. Our remote can operate in two modes. In mode 1, it works as a fully functional analog of the FAAC RC remotes. It must be paired with the control board just like the FAAC RC remotes by following the instruction manual of the control board. The 2-in-1 remote also has an additional function. It can clone the original FAAC RC remotes. In the cloning mode, 2-in-1 remote works in parallel with the original remote, and there is no need to gain physical access to the control board. The pairing of the clone with the control board is done by completing a few simple steps within the range of the receiver. Let us show you how to program the remote in different modes. As you can see, the 2-in-1 remote is not paired yet, neither is the original. We're going to test the remote by using different control boards. Let's start with this external receiver. Let's first program the 2-in-1 remote through the Learn Code button on the receiver. Let's also pair the original remote. We'll need to wait a little until the receiver exits the programming mode. Now let's check. We can see that the light on the receiver turns on, and we can also hear the relay click. This remote also works. And this is how you program the 2-in-1 remote through the Learn Code button on the control board. In case you do not have physical access to the control board and you want to have one more working remote, you'll need to clone a previously paired remote which works. To switch to the cloning mode, simultaneously press A, B, and D on the 2-in-1 remote, then quickly release B and D while holding down A. While you're holding down A, the remote will be waiting to receive the code. Place the 2-in-1 remote with the original remote back to back, and then press any button on the original remote. When you see a long flash in the copy remote, release all the buttons. In the cloning mode, the 2-in-1 remote copies all the buttons of the original remote and automatically assigns the button functions. The buttons on the original remote marked with 1 dot and 2 dots will be copied to buttons A and B, and buttons 3 and 4 will be copied to buttons C and D respectively. Now, the clone won't work right away. You will need to pair the remote remotely with the receiver. To do that, we will need to know which button on the original remote activates the automation equipment. In our case, it was button 1, and button 1 was copied to the A button. So you will need to press and hold the A button for 10 seconds while staying close to the receiver of your automation equipment. During these 10 seconds, the remote will be sending a command to the receiver to enter remote programming. After 10 seconds, the light will switch off. It means that the remote has been paired. All you need to do now is wait a little until the receiver exits the programming mode. Now the 2-in-1 remote can be used with this receiver. This programming mode will only work if the receiver has available memory and remote programming has not been disabled. Sometimes installation companies can disable this function on the control board. The 2-in-1 remote will work independently of the original remote, and none of them will cause any cross interference. In case the receiver has no available memory and/or remote programming has been disabled, there is still a way to program the 2-in-1 remote. However, in this case, the clone will cause some interferences for the original remote. Just like before, enter the programming mode by pressing A, B, and D on the 2-in-1 remote. Release B and D and continue to hold down A. Place the remote back to back with the original remote, and then press any button on the original. The 2-in-1 remote will copy all the buttons. The clone won't work right away. It needs to be switched to compatibility mode first. Press and hold B and D. There will be one flash followed by two flashes. Release the buttons. Now the clone will activate the automation equipment, no problem. However, there will be cross interferences between the clone and the original remote. They will be chasing each other, so to speak. It means that if you use any remote, say 5 times, you will need to press the activation button on the other remote 6 times to activate the equipment. If we try using FAAC RC remote 3 times now, the clone will activate the equipment only on the 4th try. The thing is, now the receiver will not accept old signal codes, and since the remotes now send identical sequence of codes, the activation counters on the remotes must be synchronized. Let's try again. The clone activated the relay once. FAAC RC will only work on the 2nd try. And if we press the activation button on the FAAC RC 4 more times, that's 5 activations total, the clone will only work on the 6th try. We recommend using this compatibility mode only if you wish to completely replace the original remote and there is no way to program the 2-in-1 remote nominally by using the Learn Code button on the receiver. The remote comes with this instruction manual, and all the operating modes are explained there in detail. Thank you for watching.